Well, firstly, the Reserve Bank delivered a statement which was very much in line with what they delivered in December, and there's been very little in the way of reaction in interest rate markets. So we'd expect that that would flow through to borrowing costs remaining pretty stable over the next few weeks. Of course, what's important for farmers and for anyone that is carrying debt is what's the outlook going to be like for the next 12 months or so, and we do think that's going to change. We think the Reserve Bank's going to need to start raising interest rates soon as the economies recover. We are at emergency levels, if you like, or record low level for the official cash rate, and that'll become less appropriate as the economy recovers. Now, we think the Reserve Bank will likely start raising interest rates in small increments, possibly as early as April, and that should start to flow through to push up short-term borrowing costs. For the longer-term borrowing costs, we've already seen those start to go up. There's a couple of things happening there. One is the expectations of eventual lifts in the cash rate are being priced into the market. And we're also still seeing the impacts of very expensive long-term funding affecting things like 5-year borrowing costs. But over the next 6 to 12 months, what we do expect is those official cash rates will rise and short-term borrowing costs will start to lift accordingly. We might see a little bit of upward movement into the long-term borrowing costs, but not so much as we're expecting in the variable rates or the 6-month, 1 and 2 year terms. So that's the outlook really for borrowing costs as we see it today. What we also might expect to see in currency markets is a bit of a recovery in the New Zealand dollar. We've been dipping back over recent weeks against the US dollar. Once the expectations of rate hikes here start to really firm up, and indeed we see the Reserve Bank raising rates, if they beat other central banks like the Fed to make that move, then we may well see the New Zealand dollar start to recover somewhat and head back up towards, say, that 75 cent US level.